Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. I'm Zian, and joining me today are my awesome co-hosts Giovanni, Kay, Leonard, and Gareth. Before we jump in, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so don't miss any of our future episodes. We're always diving into the latest tech trends, and trust me, you won't want to miss out.
In today's episode, we're diving deep into something most of us can live without: smartphones. We've come a long way from those classic keypads to today's foldable touchscreen powerhouses. It's going to be a fun ride, so stick around as we talk about brands like Xiaomi, Huawei, and help them push the boundary of smartphone technology.
So, let's kick this off with a little trip down memory lane. Who remembers their first phone? I'm taking old school like Nokia 3310 level.
Oh man, my first phone was one of those Sony Ericsson ones, the kind with a little joystick. I think I must have worn out that joystick playing Snake.
Yup, that's classic. Mine was a Motorola Razr flip phone, which was like the cool phone to have back in the day. I felt like a secret agent every time I flipped it open. Back then, we were just happy just texting with physical keypads. Fast forward to today and we've got foldable touchscreens. What a crazy evolution, right?
Yeah. And the speed of innovation has been mind-blowing. We've seen phones go from basic communication devices to practically mini computers in our pockets.
And let's not forget cameras. Some people probably don't even own digital cameras anymore because their phones are just that good. Like, who would have thought a phone could shoot in 4K?
Before we get into all the futuristic stuff, let's rewind a bit and talk about something. I think we all remember the days when smartphones still had physical buttons. I'm talking about those iconic designs, like the iPhone 8 and the earlier models, where you still had the trusty home button. It's kind of wild to think about how far we've come since then.
Oh man, that home button was like a staple for iPhones. It wasn't just there for looks either. It was how you navigate the whole phone. Press once to go home, double press to switch apps. It was such a key part of the experience.
Yeah, and let's not forget that it doubled as a fingerprint sensor with Touch ID. I used to think that was the peak of smartphone security back then. Just put your finger on the button and boom, your phone unlocked. It felt so advanced at that time.
Indeed, the home button was such a satisfying tactile thing. Even Android phones back then had physical buttons. I remember some models had not just one but 3 buttons: back, home, and recent apps. It was like you knew where everything was without even looking.
Right, Zian? It's kind of funny thinking about it now. We were so used to having those buttons that when the iPhone X came out without a home button, it felt like the end of an era. I remember people being a bit skeptical about the switch to all screen, no buttons. Everyone was asking, how do we use this thing without the button?
Yeah, but at that time, the design felt cutting edge. I remember how the iPhone 6, 7, and 8 models looked slick with the big bezels at the home button. The phone had this balance like you knew where everything was. Plus, Touch ID was just super convenient for unlocking your phone or paying with Apple Pay.
And the Android wasn't that different either. Early Android phone has those physical navigation buttons too, but they quickly started moving towards on-screen buttons. It's crazy to think about how fast everything changed once the all-screen trend started.
Yeah, when the iPhone X dropped, it was like a game changer. No more home button, just a swipe up to go home and Face ID to unlock the phone. I remember thinking, how am I gonna get used to this? But now it feels so natural. And that gave way to the bezel-less all-screen designs we see today. The shift happened so fast, it's almost like we blink, and suddenly everyone was chasing that all-screen look. It's not just Apple either. Samsung, Xiaomi, Huawei, all the big brands followed suit. Everyone wanted to minimize the bezels, get rid of the buttons, and make the screen as big as possible.
And it wasn't just about aesthetics. Getting rid of the buttons meant we could use more gestures to interact with the phone. I remember how weird it felt at first, swiping up instead of pressing a button, but now it feels second nature.
Yeah, it's funny to think about how resistant people were at first. I remember hearing a lot of complaints, especially when Apple got rid of Touch ID and replaced it with Face ID. People were like, why do we need facial recognition? What's wrong with the fingerprint? But now, it's just normal.
It's true, and honestly, the move to all screen really set the stage for a lot of the innovations we see today, like curved displays, under display fingerprint sensors, and even foldable phones. But we'll get into those tech leaps in a bit later.
Exactly. Speaking of tech lips, let's talk about how far we've come. Like from those brick-like keypads to the sleek, foldable, and curved screens we have today. Remember the flip phones? They're making a comeback, but now with flexible displays. It's all about nostalgia and tech blending together. And it's crazy how foldable phones have become a trend again, but now they're more advanced. Samsung really pushed that forward with their Galaxy Fold and their Galaxy Flip. But then you've got brands like Xiaomi and Huawei stepping up their game too.
Yeah, Xiaomi especially, Zian, they've come out of nowhere and disrupted the market with high-tech features, but at affordable prices. It's not just about the premium brands anymore. I mean, have you guys seen the Huawei Mate X and Mate XS? It's wild how we're not just talking foldable anymore. It's triple foldable.
Yeah, the Mate SX is a mind-blowing, a triple foldable phone feels like something straight out of a sci-fi movie. We're talking about a phone that can fold and unfold into different forms, like a mini tablet or a regular phone. It's crazy to see how far tech has come.
It's like Huawei said, why stop at one fold when you can have three? The flexibility in form is just next level. You can literally fold it into a smaller phone for easy handling or expand it into a full-blown screen when you need that extra space. Imagine the possibilities of multitasking or watching content. It's insane.
Exactly, Zian. Even with all the restrictions they faced, still manages to innovate. Their cameras technologies are out of this world. And they were one of the first to really push 5G tech in smartphones.
And it's not just Huawei pushing the envelope. Samsung's Galaxy Fold and Flip lines are redefining the foldable market too. The Galaxy Fold literally folds open into a tablet, and the Flip series has that retro vibe where it flips shut like an old-school clamshell phone, but with today's high-end tech.
Exactly. The Galaxy Flip is like the ultimate mix of nostalgia and modern tech. You get the satisfaction of flipping your phone shut, but when you open it, you have a full-blown smartphone experience. Plus, Samsung's tech keeps getting better. The latest Fold models have such durable screens now, and their hinge systems are super smooth.
Yep, and they're not just gimmicks either. This foldable offer real functionality like multitasking on a big screen when it's open or going compact when you're on the go. Plus, with features like Samsung's Flex Mode, you can half fold the phone to make it stand on its own for video calls or content viewing. It's like a built-in stand.
Indeed, Zian, and the competition isn't just among the foldables. Apple's been doing their thing with some seriously cool features too, like LiDAR. The iPhone's LiDAR sensor lets you do amazing things with AR and 3D scanning. It's not just about the camera anymore. It's about transforming your smartphone into a tool for augmented reality.
Apple has been low-key killing it with LiDAR. It enhances photography by improving autofocus in low light, but also takes AR gaming and apps to a whole new level. You can use your phone to scan a room, map out of spaces, or even measure objects in real time. It's like carrying a mini scanner in your pocket.
Yeah, and it's incredible how these brands have their own unique innovations. Huawei's pushing the boundaries of foldables, Samsung's perfecting the fold and flip game, and Apple's focusing on crazy new features like LiDAR. Each one is playing to its strengths.
I agree, Zian. It really makes you wonder what's next. We've got foldables, triple foldable phones with AR capabilities, and even crazy fast 5G speeds. It feels like smartphone world is limitless right now. Every year, it's something new and mind-blowing.
Exactly, Giovanni, and it's cool to think that just a few years ago, all of this seemed impossible. Phones were either flat and had buttons, or they were all about being slim and simple. Now they're folding, flipping, scanning 3D spaces, and doing things we could even imagine back then.
I agree, Kay, and the competition between brands like Huawei, Samsung, and Apple is what pushing this innovation forward too. Each company is trying to outdo the other, which is great for us consumer. We get experiences these amazing leaps in tech because of it.
Yeah, and I think what's most exciting is that we're really just scratching the surface. Between foldables, under-display fingerprint sensors, LiDAR, and who knows what else, the future of smartphones is going to be something to watch.
Absolutely. So, whether it's Huawei's Mate X triple foldables, Samsung Galaxy Fold and Flip, or Apple's LiDAR and AR innovation, we're witnessing some of the most exciting times in smartphone technology. And who knows what these brands are cooking up next.
True. Chinese companies like Xiaomi and Huawei have shown they can stand toe-to-toe with the big players like Apple and Samsung. But we shouldn't just focus on them. Let's talk about some of the other innovations in the smartphone world.
Definitely, Zian, like biometric security, from fingerprint scanners to face recognition. Those used to be the things we only saw in spy movies. Now, they're standard features on most phones.
Right, Giovanni, and don't forget about the battery technology. Remember when your phone's battery barely lasted a day? Now, with fast charging and power management systems, we can get a full day's use in just 30 minutes of charging.
That's right, Kay. The battery on smartphones are improving. And on the software side, AI and machine learning have made smartphones even smarter. Features like voice assistance and real-time translation are changing how we interact with our devices.
You're right, Zian. AI is really shaping the smartphone experience, whether it's through optimizing battery life or enhancing photos. Apple and Google have done some impressive things in the space with the iPhone and Pixel cameras.
Not to mention guys, AI-powered apps like photo editors and even health trackers that monitor things like heart rate. We're carrying those powerful tools around with us every day.
Exactly, Leonard. And as we look to the future, what innovations do you guys think we'll see next? I'm thinking more in terms of augmented reality and virtual reality integration in smartphones.
I agree with you, Giovanni. AR is already here, but imagine what it'd be like in a few more years. Smartphones could potentially replace a lot of the gadgets we use today. And speaking of the future, guys, 6G is already being talked about. I think we're going to see even more seamless connectivity, and smartphones will become even more central to how we experience the digital world.
Yup, plus with foldables becoming more mainstream, we might see even crazier designs, maybe even rollable screens or holographic displays. The possibilities are endless. There's a lot to be excited about when it comes to smartphone innovation. We've already seen so much transformation from keypad phones to foldables to the use of AI, AR, and who knows what's next. It's a super exciting space to be watching.
Well, that wraps up for today. We've talked about everything from the early days of smartphones with physical buttons to the incredible foldables, LiDAR technology, and everything in between. It's crazy how far we've come, and the future looks even more exciting.
Today's tech is amazing, and it's only going to get better. I mean, we've barely scratched the surface with all the things these smartphones are capable of. Who knows what kind of innovations we'll be talking about in the next few years?
Exactly, Kay. Foldables, AR, under-display sensors is just the beginning. I'm really excited to see what the next wave of smartphones brings to us, and we will definitely be here to talk about it with you all. And for anyone listening who's hyped about tech as we are, stay tuned for more episodes. We've got a lot more to discuss, from AI to the future of 5G and everything in between. We'll be diving into all tech trends shaping our world. So if you love talking tech, make sure to subscribe and follow our podcast as we are just getting started and there's a lot more to come.